Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here with my brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Today you're going to go out, see what things got on today, see what things are on sale. I know, the big release that came out today, is Atomic Blonde. I believe there's like a Best Buy Steelbook, and Target has an exclusive edition of that one as well. So definitely going to go, check out all those editions. Also, at the end of this video, going to be some new DVD and Blu-ray reviews for some stuff I received to review and talk about for you guys. Some really cool stuff, a really cool thing from Arrow, and then one movie too that I consider my favorite movie of the year, like I absolutely love. So definitely stay tuned, at the end of this video to see those reviews. But anyway though guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. And over here, like I said, the big release today, was Atomic Blonde. Their 4K edition here is $24.99 for this one, and their edition here, their only a Target one, has exclusive cover on this one, and it has like 4 collectible like art cards in this one. So that's a pretty cool. That's the same price for this edition. It's $22.99 for their standard Blu-ray and their only a Target one. And other than that though, the other thing that came out today was Wind River, which I really liked that one. This was actually really well done movie. It's the same writer of Hell or High Water, but definitely check this one out guys. And then finally Amityville The Awakening, and this is only $14.99 for the Blu-ray of this. This movie was delayed for years and years, so I'm so glad this is finally released. And I actually like this. I pretty much liked all the Amityville films, and this is the first official Amityville film, because there's been a lot of kind of similar type films like that, but this is the first actual Amityville one in years. But definitely one I would say is worth checking out. I think one of the other things that came out today, TV show wise, was Preacher Season 2. I believe this one released today. One thing that was interesting too I want to let you guys know about is Stranger Things. If you guys haven't gotten this one yet, you've been waiting, and you have 4K, the 4K is actually releasing of this next month, I think on the 6th of December. So it's kind of weird that they've done that. I'm surprised they didn't release them both at the same time. And I don't know if it's in the VHS style case, but I know it's going to be a different artwork and stuff on that one. But if you guys are waiting though, and have 4K though, definitely wait for that edition next month. Into the thrift store we go, and I'm having some bad luck walking under this ladder, but hopefully things will be all right. Yeah, this crazy 1970s looking gold mannequin with this dress. This one guy in this weird jacket thing here. I don't know. But let's see what's over here though. All the DVDs in here are $2.99 each, or 4 for $10. And I found a couple interesting things here in the past and stuff. This one just released on Blu-ray, I think last week, Darkman 2. I don't think I ever actually saw the sequels to that one before. And I think I remember liking the first Darkman, but it's one of those movies I don't remember too well. I hadn't seen it in a really long time. But we're going to look through here though and see if we can find anything different today. And like I said, I have found a couple random out-of-print things in here in the past. Nothing for quite a while though. I think the only thing I remember finding that was really good was that Anchor Bay film, some kind of a Christopher Lee movie, and I think it was worth I think it was $70 or something like that. It was kind of a weird random one. Here's one thing here. I don't think I ever watched this one, Jack-O-Lantern, but I always love seeing things from Hollywood Video. You see way more Blockbuster Video tapes. Hollywood Video ones are a much rarer one to see, out. And I remember too, Hollywood Video was always one of the best for finding horror movies, because they always kind of got some more obscure stuff. And they even had their own line of movies that they released as exclusives. There was one movie I remember called Kill the Man, which never came to DVD or anything. It was a kind of a movie similar to Office Space. It was a copy machine place, and they had rivalries between a really big copy machine place next to a small one. And I don't know, I always loved that movie, and it never got a DVD or anything. It was a really obscure movie. I don't even know if it ever released in any other countries on DVD or anything. But like I said though, just gonna look through all this and see if I can find anything in here interesting today. Into the pawn shop we go. And in here though, everything is $1. The Blu-rays are $3 and the box sets are $5. This is one kind of thing that's kind of cool they have in here. The entire series, I have this, but this is such a great show. Extras and this kind of cool case. I don't think I remember when this came out, but this is a great Ricky Gervais show. I always really liked that. And he had a lot of great cameos and guests and stuff on it. And then over here too, I saw this thing, Ace Ventura, the Pet Detective cartoon. The actual movie's actually on Blu-ray recently went out of print, so those are really pretty hard to find. But I'm just going to look through here though and see if I can find anything in here different today. And in there, though, I ended up, it's not out of print, but I never saw this one that Mark and John Polonio directed, this movie called Monster Movie. Looks kind of interesting. It's one of those, like, ones, there was, like, an early one. I don't know when this came out, but I think 2007. But I never have seen this one before, at least as far as I can remember, though. And it was only $1 in there, so that's not a bad price for it. There's a place up here I never saw called Kit and Caboodle. It may all be clothes and stuff, but it said thrift store, so maybe they'll have some movies in there. We'll take a look, though. It looks like a lot of, like, old style clothes and like vintage stuff, but we'll see what's in there. And there's a few random movies over here. I don't know how much they all are. Oh yeah, VHS movies $1. I don't know how much the DVDs are in here, though. But it seems to be just a few things in here. That seems to be all of the stuff. Doesn't look like anything that different, but always gotta check, though, because like I said, I never saw this place before ever, so I just like randomly discovered it. But doesn't seem to be a whole lot on the movie front in here, though. But it is, just a few things, though. I think this show at one point was out of print, though. I think that was kind of a weird show, as I remember. And there are some CDs and stuff in here as well. Into FYE we go. And in FYE they were playing music, but they had a bunch of different stuff in here. Like they had in here this one film's Needful Things, which is a Kino release for a pretty decent price. You don't see Kino titles too often in stores, but you always find a lot of Shout Factory, Scream Factory titles in here. Definitely a good place to find them in person, and if you guys are trying to find them. This one here too, I always love this movie, Thinner. This is another really pretty cool, kind of underrated movie that Stephen King, wrote the story to, but I always really like that. And they have these FY exclusive things here, which are Japanese crates, and they have like candy in that one here, and then this one has like toys. So they're kind of like those mystery kind of subscription boxes you can get, but they have them in person. I've never seen those kind of things in person. Then they have these new toys here, this Clark Griswold one for, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and these new Funko Pop ones, which are exclusives of Cousin Eddie and, Clark Griswold as well. And these are other FY exclusives. They have the Reptar cereal, and they also have the Reptar bars as well. So that's kind of cool to see these ones, sold in person. With, like I said, these are both FY exclusive ones here. I'm leaving FYE, and Santa Claus is walking. I think he's going on his break or something. It's kind of funny to see Santa, walking in here. But this mall has finally gotten fixed up and stuff. Like they've done the floors and everything, so it's really looking way more cleaned up than it has been. So it was under major construction. I don't know where Santa's going, but I think somewhere back there. I guess Santa's now, I don't know, I think they can. And those thrift stores and stuff I went to, though, there was nothing in them. I looked through everything, nothing really that different. And even FYE, it was cool to see those toys and stuff. And I was talking over the footage because they were playing music the whole time. But it's better, I think that's the best thing to do sometimes when there's no other way to film the place. Into Barnes and Noble we go. And last time I was in here in this location, they had that vampire movie, and I didn't end up getting it. And I went to the other Barnes and Noble to get the one movie, the David Lynch thing. So hopefully they still have that vampire one, because in the comments everyone was saying I have to get, see that one. It was a really cool, weird movie. So let's keep our fingers crossed that they still have that. And I looked in here, and they actually do still have it, though, because last time they had a DVD and a Blu-ray, but luckily enough, they still have the Blu-ray left in here. With the Criterion stuff, you always have to be really careful, though, because you can, like, screw up if you're not paying attention, because the DVDs and Blu-rays look kind of similar in these cases, especially certain ones look really similar, so you always have to be really, really careful here. But some of the other Criterion ones that I really like was Eating Raoul, but a lot of the ones that I really like have already picked up, like Ghost World. I have that one already. But like I said last week, though, the one I can't wait for when they come out with, and I think it's like in a month or two, is the Breakfast Club one, because it's going to have all those deleted scenes and stuff, which I'm pretty sure never been released in the past on anything. And this sale still goes till the November 30th. So I don't know if there's any other releases coming out this month that they're releasing that are interesting or not. So I'll have to probably check at least one more time and see if there's anything. This is another one that's really great movie you don't hear about too often, The Ice Storm. This is just a really, really good one. Yeah, so I ended up getting that thing in there. Like I said, since it's the Criterion 50% off, everything in there is half off Criterion-wise. So this one, was $20 in there. So definitely not a bad price for this one. And like I said, everyone in the comments said this one was good and worth seeing. So definitely can't wait to check this one out. Into Walmart we go. And these are kind of cool new slip covers they have here, which are done as, you know, the ugly sweaters, and they have them for, you know, Hotel Transylvania 1 and 2, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Talladega Nights, The Other Guys, 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, Night Before, Pineapple Express, This Is the End, Step Brothers, the Fifth Element one down there, Stand By Me, Ghostbusters. That one looks pretty good in that, you know, in the ugly sweaters version. Stripes, you know, they're all $7.96 for these ones. So these are kind of cool though, new holiday ones. And in Walmart, though, their 4K is a couple dollars cheaper than it was in Target. It's only $22.96 for that one for Atomic Blonde. Other than that, though, Nut Job 2 came out today. And then this thing, this like All I Want for Christmas, some Mariah Carey like animated movie. And their copy of Amityville is $14.96 as well. And then they have Wind River, and I think this one today, The Secret Scripture, I think that might have released today as well. Into Best Buy we go. And in here, though, they have the, you know, Atomic Blonde Steelbook here. They're pretty cool Steelbook. Their standard edition one is $22.99 for the Blu-ray, and then the 4K Steelbook is $27.99. But definitely a pretty cool one for this release. And like I said, a pretty cool movie. And their 4K is $22.99 as well. And this is the other movie that released today. This one called Brigsby Bear. I don't know a whole lot about this one, though. If you guys have seen this movie, though, let me know, you know, how this one was, and if that one's, you know, worth checking out. And you know, their Wind River is $19.99 as well. And over here, though, they, you know, got Amityville Awakening as well. So that one seems to be pretty much $14.99 everywhere. But other than that, though, that seems to be all of the new stuff I see in here today. It's funny, they still have one left of the Spider-Man 4K in here. I think these had sold out originally. I'm pretty sure the first week this came out. But funny to see one, you know, randomly here again. And I think in here they have some of these things that are like covered up like that. I have a feeling that's some of like the Black Friday stuff already that have like kind of come in here. So I'm pretty sure that's what all that stuff is back there. So anyway though, guys, that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Like I always say, guys, enjoy these videos. Definitely give this video a thumbs up. Now stay tuned now for some new DVD and Blu-ray reviews. And the first one I got here from Arrow Video is a really cool limited edition set here called Between Night and Dawn. And these are the 3 different films that George Romero had directed between making Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. And the films that are in here, though, are There's Always Vanilla, Season of the Witch, and The Crazies. And in this limited edition set, though, it includes a Blu-ray and a DVD of each movie, as well as, you know, reversible artwork for the original cover art for the films. And also in here is a booklet. And that's one thing I always love with the limited edition releases Arrow does. And they have these collectible booklets. They have like pictures from the films, they have like trivia and stuff like that about the production and all that kind of stuff. So definitely a cool thing that they always include in here with their releases. I also really love the brand new artwork on these movies, because like really cool covers. Like I said, the first movie in here is There's Always Vanilla, and then Season of the Witch, and The Crazies. I think out of all the films in here, though, The Crazies is probably the most well-known of the films in here, because that one was also remade, and I think it was like 2009 or 2010. The remake was actually okay. I remember kind of liking the remake. There's Always Vanilla was kind of a different film for George Romero, because it was more of a drama about this guy who meets this woman, and he's someone who was kind of drifting in life and never really had like a place he was living, and he meets this woman who has this money, and he's kind of like using her money, and they're kind of trying to make the relationship work, but they're having like kind of arguments and disagreements about their views on things. Pretty interesting if you want to see like a really different type of Romero film. It has on here, though, a brand new 2K transfer of the film. It has on here an interview, you know, making of on this one, talking to some of the stars of the film, as well as the producer, as well as an archival interview with George Romero talking about this film, as well as Season of the Witch. The other film in here is, like I said, Season of the Witch. And this was a woman, like a housewife, who is kind of like living like a sort of like a normal kind of mundane life, and kind of is having a hard time keeping it together. And she goes to like this tarot card meeting and kind of discovers like witchcraft. So she starts kind of messing around with witchcraft, but like when she does that, weird things start to kind of happen to her in her life, and she starts like, kind of seeing weird things. And it's a really actually pretty interesting movie. But it has on here, though, a brand new 2K transfer as well on this movie. It also has an alternate extended cut. So I think the extended cut is about 14 minutes longer. And that's an exclusive feature, you know, on the Blu-ray version of this one. It also has on here when Romero met Del Toro, and that's filmmaker, Guillermo del Toro talking with, George Romero, as well as some alternate opening titles, a location gallery with commentary with Romero historian on here. But a pretty interesting movie, though. But my favorite of all the films in here is the Crazies, and like I said, this one was actually remade in, I think, 2009 or 2010. This is basically about some kind of that's like something that gets leaked out into this small town, and everyone in the town like slowly starting to kind of go crazy, and there's these great scenes of people in the town going crazy, and the government kind of comes and shuts the whole town down and kind of has martial law, and the people who are in there are kind of trying to get out of the town, and the government there is also trying to figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to kind of control this, and like what they're going to have to do about this town, because people are there kind of going insane, and there's like great scenes of people going totally nuts in this. And this is definitely too, I feel like, the movie that really, because George Romero, I feel like, is really known for I don't know, I really love his editing, and he always shoots tons and tons of coverage and lots of shots of things, and I feel like this is the movie too where he really started to kind of get down his style of editing with like the quick cuts, and kind of his editing too was a little ahead of its time, how fast he would cut and like getting as much coverage as he did, and that definitely went over to Dawn of the Dead, because Dawn of the Dead definitely really had that kind of style. I remember in the documentary, that they did too, they were talking all about his editing style. But this is a really, really cool movie. Like I said, this has a brand new 4K transfer of the movie on here. It has a new interview here with Lynn Larney talking about making this film, and also talking a little bit about like her career, like some of the first movies that she did. It has a Q&A with her as well. And one thing too that was pretty cool feature-wise was there's a brand new locations documentary going and showing the locations where they filmed like some of the known stuff in the town. And a lot of the places really look the same. Like even like the house, they only like changed like the bureaus and like repainted a few things, but some of the things really look the same after all these years. But they showed like the locations, like what they look like now. So that's definitely a really cool thing in here. I love when they have that kind of stuff, showing film locations and what they look like now. The next one here from Arrow Video as well is a movie called JD's Revenge. This is a blaxploitation film. It's a pretty fun movie though, about this guy who goes to like this one of those kind of like clubs where they hypnotize people and stuff, and he ends up getting like hypnotized, and it doesn't go well, and he ends up like thinking that somehow he ends up getting like possessed by this gangster who had died in 1941, and he died like his sister had gotten shot, and then like he was like blamed for the sister's death because this guy saw him next to the body and thought that he did it. And he like basically though, when the guy goes to this hypnotized thing, he ends up getting like possessed. So little by little he kind of starts to change and kind of starts acting weird and kind of blacking out and not knowing what had happened to him for periods of time. And he starts to kind of take on the presence of this person that had died, this 1941 gangster. And it's kind of like him acting really strange, and then like trying to get revenge on who had killed him years back. It was actually kind of an interesting, fun, different kind of take on these kind of films. But like I said, this one has on here a brand new 2K transfer. Looks absolutely amazing. Like, did a really great job cleaning this one up. It has an brand new documentary on here about making of the film, talking with the screenwriter, the director on this one, as well as the theatrical trailer and radio spots. And this one here is from the Arrow Academy line. This is a really interesting movie called Zoology, and this is like about this woman who's kind of like not really like happy in her life and stuff, and then like she works at this zoo, and one day she kind of passes out and wakes up at the zoo, and it's kind of like what had happened, and like everyone at the job is like, what happened to her? Did she have a heart attack? But then like when she wakes up though, it's like basically she ends up growing this tail, and she goes to the doctor, and the doctor is like kind of like nonchalantly looking at the tail, and it's kind of like, and she's not even that shocked about the whole thing happening. But like all of a sudden though, after this happens, she starts to kind of try and change her life around and sort of start to try and do something, because she's not really doing anything with her life. But the second she grows this tail, she starts trying to go out and doing different things and trying to like kind of make her life have a little bit more to it. And it's kind of about her meeting this guy instead of having a relationship. It's just a really kind of quirky, kind of weird, different type film here. But it has on here though a interview here with film historian Peter Hames, interview here with one of the actors on this one. But like I said, this is kind of interesting, kind of quirky, different film. The next one here from Lionsgate. Now this movie, I will say, is my favorite film of this year, and probably one of my favorite movies in years. Like, I love this movie. This stuck with me so much. It's a movie called Good Time. Like, this gets my top highest recommendation even imaginable. I love this movie so much. Saw this one in theaters. I watched it again, you know, just now. I don't know. It's such a great movie, and it's Robert Pattinson. It's basically, though, about him and his brother has, you know, is learning disabled, and he has to go to these kind of meetings and stuff like that, and Robert Pattinson's kind of, like, upset about his brother having to go to these meetings, and they come up with this idea of robbing this bank, and they wear these masks and rob the bank, and it doesn't really go too well at all, because they put this dye package in the money, and they end up getting chased by the cops, and the brother ends up getting arrested, and Robert Pattinson ends up getting away, and he knows that his brother can't survive in jail, and he's not going to be able to be there. So he's desperate, since, you know, he didn't get caught by the cops, to try and, you know, get money to actually be able to get him out. And half the money was, you know, messed up with the dye pack. Some of it was able to be used, but he has to try and figure out how he's going to get his brother out. But then it comes up with him, like, coming up with these plans, and, like, nothing really works out for him at all. Like, anything that can kind of go wrong goes wrong. This majority of this takes place over one night of him trying to figure out how he's going to get his brother out of jail, and then how he's going to get this money, and what he's going to do, and him kind of coming up with these plans, and kind of what can go wrong will go wrong. The one director actually plays the brother. He did an amazing job in this. The whole thing about this movie too that was so cool was just the way, like, since like I said, it takes place over one night for the most part. It's got this constant feel of like turmoil, of like this stress, and how is he going to do this, and is he going to figure things out, and he's doing bad things, but you're kind of rooting for him to get his brother out of there, and the music is amazing. It's got this really great synth music, the cinematography. It's all got like this real like neon color like lighting to the whole movie. The thing that was cool too was a lot of the actors in this one, they had like a thing on, they even show on here called street casting, you know, in the opening credits. So they got a lot of, you know, actors that they kind of just found out in the streets and stuff like that had never acted before, and really like enhanced this movie. But one of these movies though, absolutely amazing. I don't want to say much at all about what happens. It's one of those movies you really need to experience, but highly, highly recommend this movie. Such a great movie. It has on here though some making ofs on this one. It has a music video, a commentary track on here with both of the directors on this. But definitely, guys, check this one out. If you guys have seen this one, though, let me know what you think of it, because I'd love to hear your, you know, thoughts about this film. And the next one here from Lionsgate as well is a movie called Valerian, The City of a Thousand Planets. And this is a movie that kind of got some mixed opinions, but it's, you know, directed by Luc Besson, who directed, you know, Leon the Professional and, you know, The Fifth Element. This is definitely in the same vibe as The Fifth Element, because in The Fifth Element they showed like a whole lot of different kind of alien characters and stuff you kind of saw in the background, and you don't really find out much about them. But in this one, they have all this whole planet with all these aliens, and it's kind of like almost showing more of the kind of aliens you had seen in The Fifth Element in a way, and kind of exploring them in like more of a detail. But this movie is basically about Dane DeHaan and Cara Delevingne, and they are kind of like, it's almost like they go around this ship and kind of protect from like bad people and stuff like that are in the galaxy causing problems and stuff like that. But they end up having to go to this planet, you know, which is a planet that's like called, you know, 1,000 Planets, which is it's kind of like this planet where all these aliens are kind of living together, and the planets all these kind of connect together into this sort of ship, and there's all these different galaxies all together, and a lot of the people, you know, the aliens and stuff that are living there are from galaxies that have kind of been destroyed, or like, and they're all kind of surviving there together. But they come to find out though that something is like threatening to destroy this whole planet, and they kind of have to figure out who it is. And along the way though, they come across like a lot of people who are kind of coming after them. They're trying to come after something that they have found, and it's kind of like them trying to kind of protect this planet and figure out exactly what it is too that's actually threatening the whole thing, and kind of who they can trust, because they kind of don't know exactly who's on their side and kind of who is after them and who the people are exactly trying to destroy this planet as well. I really like this movie. Like, I really got into this film. I'm a big fan though of Dane DeHaan. I don't know, I've liked everything he's in, especially Kara. I thought she did a really good job in this movie as well. As for 4K though, this is the kind of movie though, if you have 4K capacities, looks outstanding, because it's all, these super bright colors. And like, that's the one thing too that's cool about, the Luc Besson films that he does, the science fiction ones. He does a lot of stuff too during the day, and a lot of stuff like, a lot of science fiction movies are usually at night or mainly on ships and stuff. He actually does these super colorful, kind of different kind of things with them, and looks amazing though. Definitely, amazing colors in this one, and the HDR is the big thing, which is the high dynamic range. So the movie definitely pops, the colors and stuff. But if you guys have seen this one too, let me know what you thought of this one. It has on here though some featurettes on the movie, and as well as the trailers to the film as well, but definitely one I would definitely recommend you guys check out. The next one I got here from Fox is War for the Planet of the Apes, and this one is said to be the final in the latest Planet of the Apes series of films. I definitely feel like though down the line there could be more of these films, but love this series, and I love too how they got much more of a dark feel, because the original films, they were had kind of more like some kind of comedic aspects to them, or a little sillier and stuff, and you couldn't really take them super serious as they went along. But I feel like these films though really, and I feel like they got better and better as they went along. This one, though, is essentially, though, about Caesar and his family. They're all living with all the other apes, and they're sort of trying to stay away from the humans and kind of have nothing to do with them anymore. But the humans, though, are, head up by this crazy, like, general who's, like, kind of ruling all of them, and it's played by, Woody Harrelson's character. And Woody Harrelson's character is totally crazy in this movie. He's, like, kind of cracking up, and he ends up doing something to Caesar's family, and it's basically Caesar going and wanting to get revenge for what Woody Harrelson's character had did, and it's kind of him and some of the other apes kind of going on this journey to try and get to where he is held up and kind of get their revenge. And it's kind of them going and like all the kind of stuff they have to go through on the way to get there. And they broke up the movie because the movie definitely has a very, like I said, serious, dark feel and sad feel to the film. They broke it up, though, with Steve Zahn's character, who's this ape that they come across along the way, and they kind of added a little bit of humor and stuff to the movie with his character. But I love this movie. Just a really, really, well-done movie, well-acted, everything. All around was just effects-wise, everything. Also, this is one of those ones, too, if you guys have 4K capacities, the movie looks outstanding on 4K. And the big thing, like I always say with 4K, is the HDR, which is the high dynamic range. This is a very dark, gritty film, so it definitely benefits with the color palette, having the darker colors and stuff that it can, do with the HDR in this one. It has on here, though, commentary track on here with the director, deleted scenes that also has commentaries as well, alternate, you can listen to it with the commentary as well as some featurettes on this one. The next one here is, this is the last season of American Horror Story. This is American Horror Story Roanoke. The current season, though, American Horror Story Cult, which is, ending this evening, I feel like the newest season is probably like one of the strongest ones. Like, I love that season so much. And this one, though, I feel like this one kind of like, it has a whole lot of different twists to this season, though, this specific one, American Horror Story Roanoke. So it kind of like starts as one thing and then becomes another thing. But the show, as it starts, though, as they show one of those kind of like things that would be on like, one of those sort of like docu-drama kind of like reenactments about like people telling their stories about, oh, I had this terrible encounter that happened to me and my family when we're out in the woods and we went through this whole thing. And then you see like the real people, and then the people who are reenacting their scenes. The kind of stuff that's on like the true crime kind of shows and that kind of stuff. And this is about a family talking about this house that they moved into in the middle of the woods, and they started seeing really weird things when they were there, and weird stuff had happened and people had died, and it's all that kind of stuff that they're talking about what had happened. And they're about all dealing with this like weird people, like pilgrims type characters like out there, and like Kathy Bates is in this one, and like I said, it's got a huge twist throughout the show, so you can't say too much about it, but it's like sort of done as reenactments about talking about what this family had gone through with all this terrible stuff and the things that they saw and all these characters they came across. But I like this season, though. Like, I felt like it really, really picked up, midway through, especially when they have like the twist and stuff, the change of the show that went along. I feel like that's when the show really picked up. But Kathy Bates Yates, though, she really steals the show in this one. Like, she's so crazy in this. I don't know. I like this season. Like I said, I feel like the newest season, though, is probably the best. These other two ones, I just want to let you guys know, are available here. This is Vikings, the complete second season here, which is available. This one has on here the includes the original extended versions of all 10 episodes, and also has some featurettes on this one. So if you guys are interested in this series, this one is available. And this one here, it says a documentary called Step, which is a documentary about like a girls' high school step dance team. And this is actually a team that was in Baltimore. So it's kind of cool to check this out because, you know, I'm originally from Towson and, you know, and born in Baltimore. So like, I don't know, anything like in Baltimore and stuff is always kind of cool to watch. This is basically, though, you know, a true documentary about this girl's step dance team there. This has on here, though, deleted scenes, a commentary track on here, as well as some featurettes on this one. The next one here from the Warner Archive, and I definitely hope you know, Warner Brothers starts to do more, like, kind of lesser-known horror movies like this. I'm hoping, too, one of the other ones they released on DVD, like an archive release, was a movie called Killer Party. That would be one that would be really cool to see on Blu-ray. But this is a movie here called Night School. And this is a lesser-known slasher movie, and it was an early slasher movie. It was from, I think it was 1981. I believe, or 1980, 81. I think it might have been released in 81. This is right when slasher movies, you know, Friday the 13th had just come out, and sort of slasher movies were really starting to kind of become kind of more popular at this point. And it's one about this killer who is killing these girls at this night school, and like there's these crazy scenes of like them dying. He kind of cuts their head off, and that's kind of what they're finding is these heads everywhere. And it's this cop who's kind of investigating it, trying to figure out, you know, who it is that's killing these people. And he kind of goes to school, starts talking to the teacher, and then he's like trying to figure out exactly who it is behind these murders and stuff. But really stylized murders, and like the scenes and stuff of them getting attacked and stuff. And the killer's wearing this crazy like motorcycle kind of getup. I really like this movie. Like I said, this is a very much lesser known movie. I think that's so cool that, you know, the Warner Archive is releasing these lesser known titles. Like I say too, one of the other ones I keep crossing my fingers for is Bad Ronald. Like I would love to see that one on Blu-ray, as well as Killer Party, because that was another cool slasher movie, and that was like, I think like 88, like it was a later 80s movie, but had a really great song in that movie as well. The next one here from Well Go USA is a movie called The Villainess. This is a great, like, crazy, over-the-top action film, and there's this, the opening scene in this one is insane. It's done, you know, hardcore Henry style, where it's all like first-person point of view for the opening, and like, I don't know how they pulled off some of the stuff they did. They really, like, amazing with, like, no cuts, or, like, the way they blended things together of her, like, attacking all these people. And, I don't know, it was so well done. It's basically, though, about this woman who at the beginning is, like, killed, like, takes out all these people, and she ends up getting recruited by this group to kind of, like, work for them as, like, a contract killer, and, like, because they've seen what she can do. They tell her, you know, she can go there, but after 10 years, she'll be out. But of course, so you know that that's probably not going to go that way. And it's basically her going through, like, the training process of working with this group, and, like, the kind of stuff she has to go through, and then the kind of missions and stuff that they send her on to take out the bad guys, or the people that she's contracted to take out through the place that she's working with. But, you know, it's a really, really well done, super stylized action film. And, like, the action scenes, like the fight scenes and stuff, are really well done. It's not all you know, first person, but there's a lot of this first person in the actual fight scenes. But it has on here, though, a making of, and it has the English dub version on this one, as well as the original language version. This one here from Magnolia, and I love that it's actually in a yellow case. You never really see a yellow DVD case. And this is a movie called Lemon, and it's like Michael Cera's in this movie. Michael Cera is great in this movie. He kind of has his hair done up like a perm, and it kind of looks like Napoleon Dynamite kind of hair. I don't know. This is a really, really peculiar movie, but I liked it, but it's extremely peculiar. It's about this guy, and he's basically a like an acting teacher, and he teaches this class and stuff, and his like favorite student is Michael Cera, and his girlfriend that he's been with for years, played by Judy Greer, and like she's blind in this movie. Her character's blind, and they're kind of having like arguments with each other. And there's these ridiculous stuff though with Michael Cera and stuff, like, and like some of the stuff that happens. But he's basically this acting teacher, and Michael Cera's character is always like making stuff up. He's like, oh, I've traveled to all these countries. I was in Japan last year for this, and I'm going to be going off for like 8 months for this film that I booked. And I don't know, he's like making up all these ridiculous things. But like it's basically just about him and like trying to get work, and he does really like the acting teacher guy does these really weird jobs and having like problems with his girlfriend and just kind of going through life and stuff. It's just a really peculiar, out there movie. I liked it. Jeff Garlin has a little part in this movie. It has on here deleted scenes, an interview on here with the writer and director, as well as a theatrical trailer on this one. The next one here from Umbrella Entertainment, and this is cool because this is the first, and this is through MVD releases with Umbrella Entertainment. This is the first U.S. release that Umbrella Entertainment has done, because they're a company from Australia, and I always review their Australian titles. But this is the first, U.S. release that they've actually released here, called Attack Force Z. So I don't know if they'll be doing more in the future, but definitely cool though that they've expanded out to the U.S. with their stuff, because they really do some great releases. But this is a movie with Mel Gibson and Sam Neill, like I said, called Attack Force Z. I didn't even know, to be honest, that Sam Neill was doing movies in 1980. Like, I think it's 80 or 81 or 82. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe 82, but I didn't even know. And Sam Neill like always sort of looks the same, because he looks like exactly like he does now, pretty much. Like he always he kind of had found a look and always sort of stuck with it. But like it's a movie that was set during World War II, and it was kind of about like a rescue mission, about them trying to find survivors and stuff, and like it's kind of them like surviving out in the jungle, and then like kind of troops and stuff there are kind of coming after them. It's a crazy kind of like war film, and like I said, it was an early Mel Gibson movie. This is back to when he had his Australian accent, so I can't remember like when he stopped using his Australian accent. I think it might have been a little bit after this, or maybe it was maybe like one of the last ones was like the last Mad Max or something. I can't remember, but you never even hear him say that they have that accent at all anymore. And it has on here though brand new 4K scan of the film on here. It looks amazing though, really great transfer on this one. It has on here though the Z-Men. It was a featurette with with John McClane, the producer, and 2 of the actors on this one. But a pretty interesting like war film that I had never seen or heard of, with Mel Gibson and Sam Neill. The next one here from Cinedigm. This is an interesting kind of anthology movie called The Heyday of the Insensitive Bastards. And this is a movie that it was film students at I think it was at UCLA, and it was like a directing program, and all these different directors came together and made this film, and it was these different short stories, but a lot of people are in this one, like Tony Cox is in this one, James Franco, Kate Mara, Natalie Portman, Rico Rodriguez from Modern Family, Kristen Wiig, and it's all these different ones, and it's like Rico Rodriguez's character is like bullied at school, and he's like has a problem at like home because his father's really sick, and it's like James Franco, it's kind of him going to because his father, I think it was his father who had died, he's going to the police office, to try and like, they found these bones, and they think that it could be it was the mother, they thought that it could be her bones, and he has to go and like identify it, and it's kind of deals with like this murder that was kind of unsolved, and then all these different kind of vignettes, and they're all like standalone stories. But it was kind of interesting though. I feel like my favorite one was the Rico Rodriguez one. I really like that one a lot. But it's interesting, the whole concept as well for this, like I said, because it was all these film students that came together and all directed, and they got these great actors to kind of come in here and work on the films as well. And the next one here I got from Uncorked Entertainment, a movie called The Ice Cream Truck. I love the cover on this one. I always love these kind of crazy killer ice cream man movies, because there was the two most known ones I'd say is Ice Cream Man, starring Clint Howard, and then Mr. Ice Cream Man, which is a kind of a rare one. You can't really find it too often, but it's a shot on video style one. Super, super cheesy, but both of them are great movies. But this one is about this woman who moves into this new house, and her kids and her husband are still back behind where they lived before, because they have to finish up school. So he has to kind of wait around with them until they can go. And then right when she gets there, though, she meets this one neighbor, like this really super nosy woman, asking her all these questions. And she's like, "Oh, so what do you do? What's your job? What does your husband do?" And she keeps asking all these questions, and all of her friends, too, start asking all these weird questions as well. But right when she gets there, though, she notices this really strange ice cream truck and this odd guy. He sort of looks like a character that Tim Heidecker would play and Tim and Eric's bedtime stories. He's just like a really strange character, and he gives her a really weird look. But it's essentially, though, about this killer ice cream man who's going around, selling ice cream and then killing people. And then it has her going to this party, like, when she first got there for this one who graduated from high school. Then she starts to kind of like this guy, this 18-year-old guy who just graduated high school. But then she's, like, worried, like, about doesn't want to get into this, and then like worried about the husband, and like doesn't know what she's doing, and kind of like really bored in this house too because she's kind of waiting and nothing really is going on. But it's essentially, though, about her and this like kind of relationship that could be happening, as well as this ice cream man. So it kind of feels, in a weird way, like two different movies kind of cut into one, and a little bit sort of between the two things going on. But to be 100% honest, though, I really got into this movie. Like, I like the craziness of this ice cream man, and I like this story. It kind of reminded me like a little bit like a Tales from the Crypt episode, and like monsters, like and like Tales from the Dark Side. It kind of had that sort of old school anthology sort of feel to this a little bit. I don't know how to explain it, but it really did sort of feel like almost like an expanded movie of one of those. That it kind of had that sort of feel to us. The next one here, though, from MVD, and this is the documentary. I watched this one a long time ago, about maybe a year or so back, and this is finally released on DVD, and it's called Ghostheads. And this is a great documentary on like kind of the fandom of Ghostbusters, and it goes into a whole lot of the details too about like when like each state has like Ghostbusters, their kind of branch of people that go and cosplay as the Ghostbusters, and it talks sort of about the fandom, and it has interviews on here though with Dan Aykroyd and Ivan Reitman talking about the whole fandom, and it's got all kind of stuff with conventions, and I don't know, I really love these kind of like documentaries on fandom and showing conventions and all that kind of stuff. And I've seen some of these people that are in this one at like Comic-Con and stuff, like because they all have all the Comic-Cons and like even horror conventions. They have like they're kind of like the branches of the area where people kind of come together for Ghostbusters. But if you guys are a fan of Ghostbusters and like kind of like the whole fandom of the films, definitely check this one out here. Really well done. The next one here from Screen Media is a movie called Armstrong, and I like this one. It was about this ambulance driver. It's her first day on the job, and she's kind of dealing with like addiction from the past, and she's sort of trying to stay clean and stuff. So she's just started working this job, and she's got this partner, and the partner is kind of like he's given her all kinds of problems since it's her first day, and I don't know. I like the dynamic between both of them. And it's kind of funny, some of the stuff going on. But it ends up being this, they find this guy, they see this big explosion, and they go driving to that area, but they find this guy injured in the middle of the road on the way there, and they take him into the ambulance, and he's got this weird type of thing on his arm, and it's this sort of like robotry weapon type thing on his arm. And it's kind of like, right when they pick him up, though, people sort of start coming after them, and like these kind of like these bad guys and stuff. And you find out right in the beginning of the movie too. You see this kind of like alien type ship. It's like the first thing you see in the film, so it's going to lead up to some sort of an alien type thing going on here with this guy. But it's essentially though about this guy, and then kind of people kind of coming after them, and they're trying to figure out exactly how they're going to kind of survive and figure out exactly what is going on. You kind of start finding out more and more about this guy as the film goes along. But it was actually really pretty well done, effects wise and stuff, because it was a whole lot of this was all these type of like alien ships effects and explosions and stuff. And for like an indie film, I thought they did a good job, with all that stuff on this one. The next one here from Doppelganger Releasing is a movie called Evil in the Time of Heroes, and Billy Zane is in this movie. It's actually a sequel to a movie called The Evil, and I don't think I had ever seen The Evil, the original first film, but I remember the cover like distinctively. And this is like a zombie movie set like in the time. It kind of goes back and forth between like modern day and then Greece, like early Greece, like during the time of like the Vikings and all that kind of stuff. And there's like zombies during like that that era coming after them and stuff like that and trying to survive. And then it's sort of like nowadays these zombies are coming after these people, and it kind of cuts back and forth between the whole thing going on. And Billy Zane is like the guy who's like trying to like stop this and kind of trying to tell them, you know, it's up to you to sort of save the planet from this zombie outbreak and stuff. It's a pretty fun, like crazy, super gory zombie film from Greece. But I don't know, I thought it was actually kind of a cool movie. The next one here, though, was a movie called The Nightmare. And this movie, though, they even have a warning at the beginning, though, that it's like got a lot of like strobe type effects and stuff in this one. So like, you know, definitely keep that in mind. It's like really full of like crazy strobe effects and stuff like it's going on in this. It's an interesting movie, though. It's a movie from Germany. It's about these girls going to this club, this crazy like outside rave and stuff. And the one girl, though, she starts sort of seeing weird visions and like kind of, she's like hearing kind of like visions of this weird type of creature thing. And she kind of envisions herself getting killed and all this weird stuff, like right after she goes to this party. And then she starts seeing this weird little creature and stuff, this like kind of like weird monster and stuff, kind of like in the house and stuff. And she's like, is she imagining this thing? Is this thing really here? And it's all set during like, you know, her going to like the therapist and stuff, talking about all this stuff, and then like to these crazy parties that she goes to and stuff. It's definitely a very, very stylized movie. Some pretty cool like rave type music throughout this movie, but definitely do keep in mind, though, the stuff with like all the crazy strobes and stuff. The next one here from SRS Cinema is a movie called Scarecrowd, and this is like a throwback, like sort of 80s style kind of slasher, like kind of like, because they made like a lot of movies in the 80s, like those killer scarecrow kind of movies. This is one of those kind of like throwback kind of films like that. And it's like this farmer ends up discovering this weird like meteor type thing that came from space, and of course, though, it ends up infecting him, and he goes around wearing this like scarecrow mask, and it's kind of like him going and like killing people and like people trying to survive from him, and some crazy like, and he starts to kind of like mutate, and weird stuff starts to happen to the guy from this meteorite that, you know, that he touched. And it's just like a crazy slasher killer, you know, Scarecrow movie. I thought it was actually a pretty fun movie, and if you guys like these kind of like throwback, super gory type movies, it has on here, though, trailers and promotional video on this one. The last one here, the producer sent over this one, and it's a movie called Darker Shades of Elise, and it's a like sort of like a 50 Shades of Grey style movie. This is a Region 0 release, but you have to have a Region free player because it's in the PAL format. So if you guys, you know, make sure if you guys are interested in this one, you have like a all Region DVD or Blu-ray player for this one. Like I said, it's called Darker Shades of Elise, and it's sort of about this woman who meets this guy. It's like I said, it's got a 50 Shades of Grey style vibe to it, but she meets this guy and sort of seems like it might be all right, but the guy is kind of like obsessive, and like he's kind of like always calling her, and he's always around and always bothering her, and he sort of she tries to kind of break it up with him, but then he starts trying to mess things up in her life, and he's always calling and stalking around, and, you know, texting and being really, really weird. And it's sort of, but before all that, though, there's stuff, though, with her like getting with him and these other guys, and like it's kind of, she kind of like, when she's with him, like it kind of like awakens this stuff going on with her, but at the same time, it's like he's really peculiar and clingy and stuff like that, so you kind of know it's not that great what's going on here. But anyway, though, guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.